Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeff St. Laurent, and as you can see, I have a phenomenal guest. I feel like I'm with a celebrity. We've been working together so long, and anyways, I help coaches transition to a full-time business. You can check out my website, sellingcoaching.com. I got a ton of great resources on there. You can start off right on the homepage, enter your name and email. That's going to get you into my community, send you great stuff on a weekly basis. Check out my university. I got a ton of stuff there. And if I feel like I'm just plowing through that, it's because I am. Because I want to welcome Shaun Plummer to the show. Shaun, welcome.
Hey, Jeffrey St. Laurent. Thanks for having me, brother.
So Shaun and I go back good 3.5, maybe 4 years or so when he started his coaching business journey and did my 5-month program. We've been working together on and off literally since then. And you impressed the hell out of me, man. And people are going to start to hear why, and totally genuine with all that. So let's just give them a snapshot of just kind of, if we go back, like, how would you summarize Shaun Plummer and what brought you to me in the first place with your coaching business? So they kind of get a feel, because obviously the coaches are watching this.
Okay.
So get a feel for kind of where we started and where you were at.
Okay. You just direct me if I go off track or if we're going somewhere that takes too long. Yeah. So I took the IPEC program because I got to a point in my life where I was like, man, I was bartending and I'm making decent money. I'm not like, rich or anything, but I'm doing all right. And I get to a point to where I'm just not happy doing it. And I'm like, man, I have to do something where I support somebody else, but I don't know what to do. So I just go take this coaching program, which I find online, which is the IPEC, which is probably a lot of your audiences from there. And I like, they were like, raising the consciousness of the world one person at a time. And I was like, okay, cool, sold. So I take it and it takes about a year. And then I get my certification and I'm thinking, okay, cool. As while I'm in the program, I remember thinking, sweet, I'm going to get certification and I'm going to coach people and I'm going to help people, period. End of story. Done deal. It's nothing like that. It's just not how it works. So at one point, I remember like feeling that kind of like, where do I go from here? Like, okay, so I can coach somebody and have a conversation with them and, listen to them actively and all of this stuff. But like, what do I do with that? I don't, how do I do this? And so like I go on to IPEX resources and I'm just like looking because I'm like, there's got to be something here. And I find the quick start thing. That's where I see the videos of you. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I like this guy. Plus, it sounds like exactly what I need. So, I hit you up and then you're like, hey, we're just about to start this 5-month, I forgot what it was called, but the 5-month program, right? And I joined because I was like, yeah, let's go. Whatever I can learn, let's just learn it. And we do it. That's when I'm still bartending, right? So I remember doing it and learning a lot, but then also in hindsight, realizing like I can see now, like there was so much overwhelm like that I experienced, and this has been common over the time we've worked together. You probably have watched it like a million times, not even a million, but like I start, there's a push and there's like, oh, we want to figure this out. And then it'll go for like a month or 2 or 3. And then there's like a pullback and there's questions and confusion. And like, that's kind of been the thing, I'm trying to figure it out. And I doubt myself a lot. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Jeff, I don't know if this is right. And, and I can see now when I look back and you're telling me like, you just got to go by doing. And like, honestly, if that's like one of your biggest pieces of advice, like you just do it, and it sounds like you don't want to hear that because like, you just want guarantees in life. That's what we all want. We just give me the play-by-play, Jeff, and tell me everything's going to be all right. And just hold me until I fall asleep. Like that's what I want to hear, but
Exactly.
but I don't know. That's kind of the quick overview.
Yeah. And that's so then you were challenging how you worked. You were challenging the way you thought, your beliefs. And which, by the way, he says bartending he's not just in some dive bar like serving a rum and coke with two people in an empty room with a jukebox and the dude's in Vegas for called what, flair bartending, like flipping shit around, catching it with
juggling
your mouth.
bottles and
You know,
catching
like
it with my mouth. Yeah.
like this is like hardcore bartending. So you're making a real. I mean, you're making a real living for most people. You're doing really well.
Yeah, no, it was a good living. It's not what it was when I was in my 20s. I thought I was like, hot shit. Can I say that? Because like
Yes.
you're like 20 something years old and you're making like, I don't know, you're taking home like 160, 180,000, under the table kind of because you don't have the, it's just tips. So you're just making like money and you're like, I'm awesome. But then like that, you're not even that awesome, but you kind of think you are. I did. And then before you know it, 2 years turns into 5, turns into 10, turns into, 15 years later. And I'm like, so I'm 40 years old and I'm like juggling, like not to, I'm not trying to like, dog anybody, but like, it's just, it hits the wall. And then the money isn't what it was. You're getting older too. You know what I mean? So and then even that money, like inflation, everything, like it's not like it was like when I was making that kind of money back in the day. When I was making that money, a house was like $140,000 in Vegas, and then it was good to go. But yeah, it just gets to a point where I was lucky to save some, and you do all right. But like, I just you just don't want to do it anymore. Even if it looks cool, and like even when customers come to the bar, they're like, "Yeah, you're awesome." They're still telling you that, but like I stopped feeling it. Like I'm still nice to people. I still love my coworkers and everything. But inside me, I was like, man, this is not how I want to spend my life.
Yeah.
So,
So you left.
yeah, it took a while. We were working together for a while. I mean, how long were we working together? Well, 2 years. We were probably working together for like a year and a half before I left,
Yeah.
honestly. I was doing it like on the side. And so, I've had a lot of epiphanies being in Thailand. We'll get to that, I guess, about doing it on the side. Um, but yeah, I was kind of doing it and, doing a little. We had some clients. We were working on stuff. We're learning. We're growing. We're making mistakes, and that's actually a really good thing. You hate it at the time. I still hate it at the time, but then like I had to step back and be like, actually, the mistakes are like that's where it's at. That's how you learn everything. You have to do it. But yeah. About a year and a half, I was still bartending. And then I remember having a conversation. We may or may not have talked about this with a buddy of mine. I was at his house in like late December, right around Christmas. And we were just having a conversation. He was asking what I was doing. And he had just moved back to Vegas from Austin and, yada, yada, yada. We started talking. And he was like, so why are you still bartending if you really don't like it? Because we were having a kind of a deep conversation. I was like, I'm just so over it. And he's like, well, why are you still doing something that you don't like? And we're like, right when he said it, I remember just the feeling. I was like, oh man, because I knew the answer. Like I paused for like, I don't know, 5 seconds. That wasn't that long. And I was like, fear. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. And as soon as the words came out of my mouth, I knew what I was gonna do, and I knew what I had to do, or I wouldn't be happy with myself. And I was like, God damn, I knew I was going to quit my job. And then I was like extra scared because I knew I was going to quit. So as soon as I had a conversation, but I was like, yeah, I guess I'm going to quit my job. And then we quit the job, gave him some notice, and then we jumped off the cliff and we pushed hard for like 2 months. And then we actually did all right for that 2 months, weirdly, like financially, like for coaching, for like the period where I was like, wow, like just pushing and doing what you said. Like you reach out to everyone in your network, you go everywhere, you just give them your authentic self, but like don't shy away from it. Just boom, you know what I mean? And people will show up, and that's what happened for the 2 months. People showed up. But then I got overwhelmed. I got scared. So then I kind of stepped back, and then I was like, you know what? I need to relax a little, Jeff. And I think around this time I was like, let me just take a break. This is kind of what I do. I like 5-month program, take a break, then hit you up. And then I was like, let me just relax. I like to go with the flow with things. I don't like to push so hard. And when I did that, I was still coaching. I had, I don't know, 4 to 6 clients, and I was just working. But then like I somehow fell back. Like part of my story, like we won't get totally into it, was I played poker professionally for like 5 years, something like that. And so like I haven't played poker in many years because very similar to the way I feel about bartending, I feel about poker. Maybe more so toward poker. They're both pretty like I'm not happy about what it offers the person sitting across from me, you know. But I was overwhelmed. I was like, man, I haven't done this in years. It's been like 4 years. I stepped back into a poker room and I was like, I'm just gonna play just the smallest game, couple $100. And then I stepped in there, and then like you see all these people that you knew back in the day, because it's like poker room was like a time warp. So everybody's like, oh my God. So, anyways, long story short, I fell back into playing poker again. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then I was making like 100 to 130,000 a year, just like playing poker, like 20 to 30 hours a week. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And it sounds like that's great. But
I
then
gotta
like,
stay for hold on a second. It's just so funny because you're like, oh yeah, just flair bartending, earning like, like 150, 160, whatever, 100. Then they're like playing poker professionally and like, yeah, earning 100, something. Like most people can't ever earn that doing anything ever. And here you are in these two, like that's a hard thing to do.
it's, I don't know how, if it just I don't know how life goes. You fell into it when I was kind of infatuated with the bartending thing when I was in my early 20s, and then I was like, oh, this is so cool, and then it just
Yeah.
things lined up. Actually, it's very manifesty. Like, I'm not a huge manifestation guy, but I do think there's a lot of merit to that kind of thinking. If you just focus your heart and soul on it, like everything on it, it just doors just, you don't know what opens, but it just does every time. It's when we're not totally like aligned, or we have some sort of hesitancy. That's when it doesn't align. Which is kind of like my coaching story, to be honest. Like it's like, I don't know, like I'm not fully in. I always have one foot kind of dipping my toes in the water, but then I'm a little scared of it. So, yeah, anyways, yeah, I don't know that, but both the things, interestingly, like I could go make a living, but like I'm not happy doing it. My sister even said
Exactly.
she was like, because I was like, I go through these waves. I think you probably, every entrepreneur, every coach probably goes through these. You're like, I got this. I'm optimistic. I'm gonna do it. Like, bring on the world, and I'm gonna punch it in the face. But then you go through the opposite, and you're like second guessing yourself, and you're going, I don't think there's anything special about me, and I don't think I have anything to offer. You go through it. Like, I think the vast majority of us, that's what happens. And so like in your head. So I was talking to my sister, and she was like, yeah, when you come back from Thailand, I'm gonna go back for the holidays, because I was like, it's a good time to go spend like 2.5 months with the family, holidays. And she was like, you come back to Vegas, and like, honestly, you're in Thailand. What do you spend, like 40,000 for the whole year? I was like, probably not more than that. Like, and that's with me traveling around, scuba diving, doing all this. I just do whatever I want. I don't really think about much. I mean, that's a bad quality I have. I got to work on that. But she was like, you can play poker for like 2 or 3 months, probably make like 30, 40 grand. And I was like, I thought about that, but like, I also had the realization that I was like, that is just like bartending. It's not something I'm proud of. And in addition to that, even if I were proud of it, it's like it holds me back from this thing that I actually want to do, because it keeps me feeling safe. Like, I just, like, there's this weird feeling that I have, and I think a lot of people have this. I hope not the only one, where like you feel like you earned money and you just bought yourself time. What a crappy way to think, but I feel that within me. Like, if somebody dropped like a 200 grand on my door, I'd be like, sweet, I just bought myself another 2 or 3 years, like, of not having to worry. And I was like, what? And I think this, and I was told her, I was like, I hate that. I hate that I think that. I hate that I feel that. And I don't want to give into it, because like, no, I came to Thailand because I was like, I'm gonna go trust the universe, whatever you want to call it, and just go out there. Like, I'm not rich, I got some money. I'm not, but I can't just not work for the rest of my life and not have any income. But I'm also like, this is my life. I I don't want to waste it doing stuff that I'm not proud of, or doing things that I don't really care about, or doing somebody else's dream. And like, a casino owner's dream, it's a terrible dream if you ask me. Like, it's just like the worst. It's just casino owners and insurance people selling insurance. Those are the worst. Like, you're just scamming the system. That's all you do, is take advantage of people. So I don't want to do that for somebody else. I don't want to work for them, you know? So
What I admire most about you, Shaun, is exactly what you're saying, and what I want everyone to really hear the most right now is you were doing the two things, right? Like flair bartending and then poker, really good at both of them, earning really good money for the average person, right? And but it you didn't like it. You didn't feel good doing it. And like you said with the bartending, right? 5 years becomes 10 years, becomes 15 years. And then you ask yourself that question, and like, why am I still doing this? Your friend who said, well, why are you still doing it if you don't like it? People often can get to that spot, but yet they don't ever really answer the question. They don't really ever explore it. They don't ever really do anything about it. And you've done things about it repetitively. And that brings us really to the most, I would probably say they're all significant, but it feels significant because of,
this one feels a little different.
yeah, right. So, where you stop bartending, bring us to that point of probably like 6 months ago, really ish.
Yeah.
That you got to, and what you've done, because that's by anyone's standards, a bold move,
Yeah. No, yeah. I remember we were working together a few months ago. Time flies, but I was doing the men's groups, which, I got some gratification from, put together a couple of men's groups, and we were doing them, and then we were going to, like, just ways to bring guys together, and then we'll see what grows from there. But then I was like, man, I'm still here and I'm still playing poker, or like, I'm still keeping myself safe. And it's slowing me down. And I didn't say those words, but I knew it deep within me. I was just, wearing, and I don't know, what are those ball and chain things, you know what I mean? On my ankles, like trying to walk around. I can't do it. And so I was like, I just chilled out for like 2, 3 months, and I was like, I don't want to play any poker. I didn't do anything. Like, I haven't done anything like since last December, I think. And I was like, let me just relax a little bit and let me think about this. And then I kind of made the decision. It started forming in my head. I was like, I think I'm gonna go to Thailand. I've been going to Thailand, I've went a couple times. It just started like within the last 2 years, and I really like it out there. I'm resonate a lot with my Buddhist practice. I don't have a Thai Buddhist practice, but it's still Buddhism still has a huge overlap if it's Thai or Tibetan or whatever. So I was like, let me go to Thailand, and I can deepen my practice and get away from all of this. I call it noise, but the noise exists within me, but I'm around it. It influences me, and that's what I did. And it really, yeah, it was big. Like, I went away, and then I sat in the temple for the first month, and I just did a meditation retreat, because I just think it's hugely powerful to get in touch with ourselves. That sounds so corny, right? That sounds
Well, hold
so
on a
corny.
second. Let me pause for a second. You
Yeah,
just didn't go to Thailand, though. Like, you sold everything in your
I
life.
sold everything. I sold everything. Yeah.
Like you did, like, oh, I'll just leave the house. I'll leave the car. I'll leave, my stuff, all my stuff. You got rid of everything. You obviously have some clothes, but like,
It's in a backpack. Like, my clothes fit in a backpack, dude.
like you took everything you had accumulated over 40 something years. So how old are you again?
Yeah. But I'm not a hoarder. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
But it doesn't matter if you're not a hoarder or not. You still have 40 something years of life, of stuff. Everyone's got stuff. And you got rid of
Right.
everything besides a backpack of clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, I pretty
That's
much I
pretty
just got rid
bold,
of it.
dude.
Yeah, I just was like, this stuff is not important. Like, it's weird. Like, and we talk so much, man. We think these things are important, and I'm so afraid. I say we, but like, I'm speaking from my perspective, and I'm just assuming that some people feel the way I feel. Honest, we're so scared. We're so scared for ourselves. Like, am I going to be all right? And that leads us to be selfish. That leads us to hoard things, chase money, like, and I hate all those things, but I'm doing them, and I'm just watching me do them, and I'm like, I don't, I truly believe that, like, the cause of pain is our self-centeredness. Like if we're not self-centered, I remember I was depressed for 6 years before we started talking, but you probably heard the story. Um, my experience of depression was that I was just constantly feeling sorry for myself. And I'm not trying to undermine anybody else's struggle or anything, but for me, that's what depression was. And I was like ready to commit suicide. But that's all it was like my life is never going to be okay. I'm screwed. Nobody's going to love me. I'm not worth anything. Like it was just a constant, like I was doing a mantra, you know what I mean? My meditations, but they were the opposite. And yeah, so I don't know. It just switched when I was like, man, why do I have to have these things? Why is it so important? Why do I even have to worry so much about money? You know, like a lot of the Buddhists, like I have a mentor. I would, it's too long what he was sending, but I would read it to you. It's like awesome what he says. But one of the pieces of what he says is that, all you have to do as a human is relax. And it's like so simple. He's like, you just have to relax, it's like you don't have to do anything actually. You know what I mean? It's all good.
Yeah.
And
We don't
but
have
we
to do
don't
anything.
think it is. We're just here to live and experience. But like we really think we got to keep ourselves safe. Like I still like I say it and like, but at the same time, like I'll have my periods, long periods where I'll be like, oh man, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And that's like the epitome of pain and suffering. Like anytime I'm in that, it's the worst. It's the absolute worst. And whenever I'm like, how can I help somebody? How can I support somebody? And I'm not like right now, I made the conscious decision. I was like, I'm not even gonna try to make any money for this whole year. Like, I'm not gonna, I don't want that. I don't want it to seep into my brain because this is not the kind of life I want to live. Money should be to me a side effect of the value I offer somebody. And the word value just gets thrown out so much, but like truly, like I, if the money is supposed to come to me, the money will come to me. And if it's not supposed to come to me, then that means there's a lesson I'm supposed to be learning, and that's okay too. Like both of those things are awesome, right?
The surrender that you're role modeling it's wild even to me, right? Like I feel pretty present and relaxed, but I know I worry, I'm scared. I have everything you say. I can relate to all that stuff, absolutely. And but the surrender, the significance I hear now of why it's almost like in order to get to the state you're in now, you had to sell everything, you had to get rid of everything, because keeping it, that just having it, knowing you have all that back in Vegas keeps you safe.
Right. For me, that's exactly what it is. For me. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to do what I did, but I had to do what I did. It was just there in my mind, like a fall. It's like a safety net. You've heard that Arnold quote, that Arnold speech where he's talking about no plan B, right? It was like that. Like I just always have a plan B, but my plan B's like don't make me happy at all. And I'm like, dude, life is going by. And I think about these questions, the things that I think people don't put enough stock into, where they're like, when you're on your deathbed, what are you going to think about? But I really take that seriously. Like, what am I going to think about? I'm going to think, did I give love to people? Did my presence in people's life make their life better? I'm not going to think like, how much do I own? Who am I going to give my stuff to when I'm dying? I just can't imagine that that's what I'm going to be thinking. They've done a bunch of studies and nobody thinks that. So I'm guessing I'm probably right, in this assumption here. But like, yeah, we're not going to care about that. So I think if I just go through life, I told somebody, one of the cocktail waitresses I used to work with, hit me on Instagram. She's coming to Thailand, so we're going to meet up and go scuba diving and hang out or whatever. But like, she was like, dude, you're awesome. Like, it's just so crazy what you're doing. And I was like, I'm just learning. I haven't. It gets weird. There's a part of me when people tell me like I'm so inspired by you, you're awesome, you have, so much courage, whatever. I always want to like qualify it, like downplay it and be like, I haven't done anything. All I did was go to Thailand, I didn't achieve anything, a dude, you're gonna like this story probably. I was just getting done with a dive, like it was a week ago, week ago or a week and a half ago. So we spent the day out on the water, came back, and getting dropped back at the hotel where everybody was talking, and in the van is like four of us. And this dude from Ireland was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm an online men's coach, And he goes, "So where are you based out of?" And I was like, "Right now I'm based out of Thailand, but anywhere Southeast Asia. Like I usually like Chiang Mai, but I'm going to go to China for 6 weeks in September, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go to the Caribbean." And he was like, "You're living the dream." And like my brain immediately was wanted, like it was gonna say, it had it like locked and loaded, the answer. It was like, no, I'm just starting. I'm figuring it out. But I didn't. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty fun. Because it is.
It is.
It's just so crazy. But
It's interesting you say I didn't achieve anything. I'm just doing, and whenever someone says that, and even I coming into here, right? I said I feel like I'm with a celebrity. I feel like, because we've talked so much, and we have a cool relationship. There's the work we've done, but we also, I think we have a good, like, if we could hang out, man, we'd be bros totally.
oh, 100%.
Right? So, but with that being said, when the average person, and I'm including myself in that, looks to what you've done, that's really the thought of doing that. Like, I can't even wrap my head around selling, like, I can't even, like, the smallest thing, that I can't even give you an example of what, but that's, it scares me because, like, there's something that I relate to or gives me significance, or and levels that I'm okay with. But what's interesting is and no one, like you said, no one has to sell stuff and do it. It didn't align with you. You weren't feeling good about it, right? So there's one thing is, if wherever you're at, doesn't mean have stuff, do things, like, doesn't earn money, like, go after stuff, hustle, earn more, go after. And if you're good, you're good. But just what you were doing wasn't resonating. It felt wrong to you. It didn't feel right. It doesn't mean flair bartending or, poker professionally, or like, just go crazy. Like, but what is it? That's the message I'm really pulling, right? Is like, what is it that you're not aligned with? And there's no level, there's no extreme. That's what I heard from you. There's no extreme. That wasn't extreme. Someone else might label it or judge it extreme, but for you, it was like, it was necessary fundamentally to be in the space that you're in. And for what we're just listening to you now, when we haven't spoken in maybe 4 months, it's been ish. You feel lighter. There was always this struggle, the internal struggle with you, where, like I said, anything you really dove into, you've done very, very well, whether it's martial arts or something, monetarily.
Right.
Even coaching, when you win in full on, like, you did well. Like you said, that 2 months, like, and I would get excited because, that's why we were coming to you initially, and you'd grit out this traction. I'm like, oh yeah, this is it, Shaun. Like, but I could always feel, like you said, you always had one foot in, and it wasn't all in you.
Right. Because I think I always feel like I had to have it figured out. And that's weird to say that because, like, you and I both know that nobody has it figured out. But like, my thought was that I was supposed to have it figured out. One of our big things that we always talk about for me is I don't want to ever sell anything I don't want to take advantage of anybody. That's a big deal for me. Like, and so like, if I sell a coaching program, I'm always like, how do I deliver? How am I delivering? Like, so there's always this thing. And so this is like, it's so interesting. I haven't really thought about it like this, but like, that's led me to here where I'm like, I don't want to think about making money. I just want to go put the stuff out there. So like right now, everything I'm doing is online. The YouTube channel is starting that's hilarious to watch from the beginning to cringe is, what everybody says, so funny. But just looking at it like that, and the blog and all of these things that, like, I'm like a baby doing it. It's like, I feel like I'm a level 1 in a video game. I just bought a new game and I'm level 1, but like, that's so funny because, like, when I'm trying to make money, when I'm trying to be good, when I'm trying to be good at it, then there's the pressure. And I'm like, well, I'm level 1. I'm not good at it. But if I just buy the video game to go play the video game, it's awesome. Like, I'm like this is so cool. I'm scuba diving on the weekends. I learning how to make YouTube videos, like going through the phase where they're just absolutely horrible and nobody's watching, but I'm learning. So I'm okay, let me go figure it out. Look it up online. It's like it's becoming like a game, and the mentality is a little different. It's not like, okay, how do I get there by X time? It's this game that I want to play. And I'm going to play this game, and where this game leads me, we'll see what happens. But like, I know how I mean, I don't know, but like, I've heard how the YouTube journey goes. Like, you're going to start YouTube, and they're like, be willing to put in like 2, 3 years of like crickets, like, and that's if you're posting like at least once a week and improving. They're like, expect that, don't even begin to say anything till you're at 100 videos, which takes forever. But it's just a different mentality right now. I feel like I'm just learning and telling myself just have fun. Like I don't have to worry. But like I'm not saying I never worry, because like all of us, I come back and I have those moments, and then maybe I'll hit up a friend, or maybe I'll just go meditate and just get away from it. I put for myself, this is just me rambling a little, but like I never work 7 days now. Um, I generally only work 5. And it's not because I'm trying to be lazy or I'm like, let's thank God I don't have to work. It's because I can see the value. Like, I'm not a Christian, but like I get why God rested on the seventh day. You got to
Yeah.
stay centered at all times. You can't just be in it at all times and then you just get consumed by it. You have to step back and see what's going on. And so I've set that for myself, like mandatory one whole day where there's just zero work, zero, just enjoy life, do whatever.
It's interesting when you say work though, because it feels like right now you're not working in a traditional sense to earn money.
Right.
Like it's almost like you're just doing things that give you joy. You're kind of you're labeling it work,
Yeah.
but it's actually you're not doing it because like, oh, I'm working so then I can earn a paycheck or someone can hire me or do something. It feels like whatever you're doing with YouTube, or you sent a few emails, which was kind of cool when I saw that,
Hey,
and
yeah.
it feels like you're not doing that. So, oh, maybe I'll get a coaching client. It
No.
feels like you're just doing what feels appropriate and right for you in the moment.
Right.
And if I'm enjoying it. Whatever comes
That's
of
how
it
I
comes
want
of
it to
it.
feel. Yes. That's what I'm consciously, I'm not completely oblivious to the fact that I'm trying to build something up here, but I want to just put in the effort and I want to view it as it's like gym analogies. We got to love them.
Yeah.
It's like you start going to gym because you're like, I want to put on 20 pounds of muscle and I want to be at 12% body fat or 10%, whatever you do. And you set up yourself. But when you go to the gym every day, you don't sit there and go, oh my God, when am I going to put on 12 pounds, 20 pounds of muscle? You just go work out for the day. You go, what's today? Oh, it's, chest and tries or back and buys or whatever it is. And you just go do the exercises. And like the more into the exercises you are, the more you fall into the exercise, the more you fall in love with working out, the more you just reach this spot where you go, oh, damn, we achieved that like 6 months ago. I didn't even realize. So that was my initial goal,
Yeah.
And so like I know that, but like I've let it elude me in this coaching journey that I've been on. And now I'm like, and that's the sauce. Like I don't have to achieve anything. Like the Buddhists say, you don't have to do anything.
Do
Everything just
anything.
happens by itself. You just have to be a human. And but we're so scared that we don't believe it. Like I often don't believe it. No, I gotta make money. AI is killing us all. I feel all those things, but like truly, we're just having an experience here. And so when I can get in touch with that, even just a little, it helps me out.
Yeah. As we pull this together, now you're in Thailand, you're there. Just you had a one-way ticket. It's not like, oh, I'll be there until you're there.
Yeah.
Dot dot dot.
Me and my trusty backpack.
Right. And you haven't accumulated things over there, it sounds like.
No.
And so you're over there. you've sold everything, you're on this journey, kind of closing this up, like, what do you have to share? What's for everyone listening in terms of what you feel with this journey where you're on now, maybe probably the most significant thing that you've learned to this point?
This is so funny because this is the topic of the YouTube video that I'm recording tomorrow. So funny. Yeah, the the biggest I've learned a couple lessons that have just jumped out at me, but the biggest one is the power of being alone. I have no friends here. Obviously I'm learning Thai, so I try to speak Thai to people, but I don't, I don't drink, I don't do any drugs, I don't do any of that. So there are very limited ways for me to distract myself. I get to scuba dive on the weekends, but I wouldn't say that's a distraction. I would say that's me enjoying myself. But there are very limited distractions here for me. And so that sometimes is like scary, and it makes you like, I wish I could run. Like I have a feeling I want to, oh man, should I call somebody, have somebody come visit me? And I'm like, damn, it's like so easy to go run into something, like looking for something to distract my brain from being with myself. But when I'm with myself, and the longer I'm with myself, the more, it's just like I said, it sounds so obvious and cheesy and corny, the more you get to really know yourself, And I'm not saying I know myself to the highest degree right now, but I know myself more because like it's just me. I heard a Buddhist guy say this. I love this. And he was like, loneliness, boredom are like the cousins of wisdom. Like loneliness is probably like the sister or big brother of wisdom. Like you can never attain true wisdom without loneliness and boredom. You got to be able to sit through your boredom, And I think he's right. Like, cause I can feel that after something like 3.5 months I've been out here. And yeah, I'm learning a lot about myself constantly. I want to run. I watch myself want to run, but there's nowhere to run to. And I don't know. It's kind of nice. There's a lot of learning going on.
Yeah. I absolutely love that, right? Loneliness and boredom are the sister or cousins of wisdom, was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's interesting whenever you say like it sounds corny or cheesy, it's anything I think that we say as humans that sounds corny or
Right.
cheesy is probably the ultimate wisdom because everyone says it
Yeah.
and everyone's heard it. So therefore, this is going to sound like cheesy.
Right.
And I know you've heard this before, but isn't
Right.
that like what else do we need to know?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
there's
Like
always
these
these
lessons aren't
fundamental
new.
pieces. Yeah, they're not
The
new, and they never
fundamentals,
will be, and they'll
they're not
never
new.
change.
Correct. Thousands of years old. You know what I mean? You've heard them when you were a kid. You watched them in like, Miracle on 34th Street. It's the same stuff. You know what I mean? The same core feelings and wisdom.
Yeah.
But we seem to get away from them and then discount them and just like blow them off and say them kind of like out of the side of our mouth, snickering, but
Yeah.
it's actually the stuff.
It's the stuff, man.
It's
Shaun
the stuff.
Plummer, thank you for this. Thank you for, thank you for the connection. Thank you for trusting me always. Thank you for
Always.
being vulnerable with it's, but even today, just like showing up and um, not being afraid and showing what it's like to release that fear. But then also be honest, say like, I still feel those things. It's not like, oh,
Yeah.
I sold everything and I have a backpack and I fear no more. Like, no,
I fear no
you,
more.
you struggle still, but like
You're right.
you're actually on the path where you want to be, where you feel great about what you're doing with your life.
Yeah, I'd rather. Like I said, back to the cocktail, she had said something, and I said, I would. Maybe this is extreme, but I'd rather live on the streets and just be a good person than to like accumulate stuff for myself through means that I don't align with. I don't want to do that ever. I swear I'd rather live on the street and be homeless, but be kind. Like that's it. And
Yeah.
I feel that strongly. So
Awesome. Well, I know our journey hasn't ended together, at
no,
least
sir.
staying connected in some ways. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching this. And Shaun, we will talk soon, I'm very sure.
Jeff St. Laurent, you're the man.
Thank you. All right. Take care,
Thank you,
everyone.
man.